Hey y'all. So I just wanted to tell y'all this story about how God just healed me from some trauma that I didn't even know I had. So I moved into this apartment out here in Florida, and it is a really nice luxury apartment. But my neighbors have been like the neighbors from hell. Okay, so have y'all seen that reel where the guy has his woman on his shoulders and she had some tennis shoes on her hands and he was running her across the floor, like banging on the ceiling to get on that neighbor's nerves because apparently they had kept them up all night with noise. So they decided to return the favor. Literally, that was like the situation I was in, except I was the one on the bottom, but I could not retaliate in my flesh in the way that they did. I would have loved to, but when you are a follower of Jesus, you don't get to respond like the world responds. So I had to ask myself, what would Jesus do? Y'all. So I used to be a fighter and I used to deal with a lot of anger. And so I would have loved to give them a piece of flesh. But instead, I had to pray about it. And literally, y'all, the feeling that I was feeling, it was fear. I had fear and anxiety every time that they would make all that noise and throw stuff on the floor. And literally, they were doing it on purpose. And there's a whole backstory to that. I'll tell y'all about that later. Seriously, I'm going to tell y'all. I know I'd be like, I'm going to tell y'all stuff, and I don't usually get to that. But I'm going to tell y'all this story because this is crazy. Anywho, fast forward, one day I'm sitting on the couch and my daughter and I were watching a movie. They are thumping up there. So I'm feeling the vibration in my ears. There's vibration on my couch, on the floor. And so I asked my daughter, like, I'm like, does this bother you? And she was like, no. And I'm like, how does this not bother you? And I went on to explain to her the pain that I literally felt and that I felt afraid and I felt anxiety. Like, I really felt like I was afraid of something. And so she went on to tell me, like, Mom, you don't have to be afraid because they can't do anything to us. And whenever we see them outside, they don't even do anything. They just make all that noise, and that's all they can do. And although, like, I am not afraid of them, I was not afraid, but that was the feeling that my body felt. So when my daughter went on to explain that, I literally felt like a little girl. And so I went to call my big sister and I just asked her, like, hey, is it possible that I experienced some trauma while I was in mommy's womb? Or maybe I experienced some trauma as a toddler before I was old enough to remember. And she's like, tell me it was possible. And we went on and had a conversation about it. And after that, I recognized, like, oh my God, I am having a trauma response to all of the noise that they were making. So in my house, literally, it's so peaceful all the time. My daughter and I, like, we barely have the TV on. We can sit in the house just peace. We do all the time. And so, with all of that noise, our peace was being disrupted, as well as I felt tormented because of the trauma that I was feeling. Literally, some days I would just run to my room and fall on my face and cry. I would cry out to the Lord about the pain that I was feeling and the torment. And, after that day that I had that conversation with my sister and my daughter, the Lord helped me to realize that it was trauma and he wanted to heal me of it. Y'all, so it is just like our Father to take a situation that the enemy meant for bad, for evil, and turn it around for our good. So, like, even though I was being tormented, the Lord used that as an opportunity to expose some trauma that was deeply rooted inside of me that I didn't know was there. I'm still yet to pinpoint all the ways that having that trauma deeply rooted in me has affected my entire life. The Lord began to show me some things. He gave me a dream, and every day that I brought it to Him after that, He began to heal me. And so every day it got better and better. Although today I'm still going through it, but they are getting ready to move to another unit. Praise God. But anywho, so now they make all the noise and it does not bother me. Tonight I was listening to a song by Byron Cage. It's called Healed, no, Broken, but I'm Healed. And as I was listening to that song, I'm like worshiping the Lord. And then I could hear my neighbors start to turn up. And I just went in even more because I was like, oh my God, like, Lord, you completely healed me. I don't feel an ounce of pain when they turn up like that anymore. And although, like, I knew that the Lord was healing me and that literally I've been healed for a few days, but for some reason, while I was listening to that song and they began to turn up, I was like, God, you are so good. And I had to clean my face and get myself together so that I can make this video and let you guys know that God is a healer. And when you begin to allow the Lord to restore you and begin to heal you of things, like, God will show you, He will expose hidden things. He will show you what is hidden, the trauma that is hidden inside of you that you don't even know is there. So, yeah, I just want to encourage you to tap in. Tap in. He is the best therapist anyone can have. And on that tip, I do want to share something. One day I was talking to the Lord in the shower and I was like, God, because I was thinking about going back to therapy. And so I'm like, people always saying, to go to therapy or you need Jesus and therapy. And I'm like, why is it that, people are like, we need you and therapy when, I mean, you're God. You're the one that created us. And this is what he said to me. He said, uh, he allowed us to have therapists and doctors because we don't really believe that he can heal us of our mental issues. He can heal us from our trauma, or that he can heal us in the ways that doctors do, And so as a grace to us, he'll allow us to have doctors because we don't believe, y'all. But God is a healer and he is still in the miracle business. And I just wanted to share that the Lord healed me from some trauma that I didn't even know I had. Anywho, I hope that this story inspired you in some way or encouraged you. I love y'all and have a good one.